Look, I didn't even give anybody the warning. Look at the governor's face. He said, "Oh my God."
And we're off, folks. Welcome to the
Oh,
LLC.
and we're recording. I had to throw that in there.
Post World Championships, baby.
It is post World Championships. I'm still jet lagged. I don't know about, Clyde's still in Hungary. I'm playing with the baby on the camera. Governor's taking sideways, doesn't know what to do. Where are we? What are we doing? Oh, we're recording a show called Athletic Cells.
That's right.
That's what we're doing. Welcome one, welcome all. We're back. We are post World Championships. Much to be celebrated, and so many things happen. So many great things happen. We already started some of it last week with part one. This is part two and the conclusion of, and we are literally going off script because we can just spitball this one because there was so much to be said that happened. So, do we want to go backwards from the finish to the middle, or do we want to go from the middle?
The middle to the finish, baby girl.
We'll be starting at the 1500, true?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I just lost. Scheist.
Yeah, so Governor, you have to do this because Chu's confused already. So come on, big league.
I closed the screen and it went away completely.
Yeah, so let's start with the men's 1500 with the quote-unquote upset of Mr. Ingebrigtsen. I mean, look, I'm not, I don't like to hate on people at all. That's not
who you are.
That's not who I am. But based on what we saw in the semi and the motioning to the crowd and the hand to the air, and I'm just gonna stay right here in the back, and then I'm gonna outrun everybody. And then we get to that final, and Josh Kerr says, "Sorry, homeboy. 2 years in a row, 2 world championships in a row. You come in as a favorite, and it's just not going to be your day." I don't know what was more. I don't know I mean, how about the comments afterwards claiming that he was sick? And I'm going, okay, homeboy, like, I don't even know you, but you're doing a lot to make me not like you.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Came off to
me.
Let's not make excuses because we took the L. And so in my talking to people in the distance world, like, if you remember Josh Kerr from his college days in New Mexico, the last thing you wanted to do was let it be slow for 800 and then go, right?
Yeah.
So he is kind of, if you want to take it from, if you come into my world, I want to kick your butt. That's Josh. His picture should be there. Because if it's a 328, 329 race, then Ingebrigtsen is probably the guy.
Yes.
But you came back into Josh Kerr's world. You did it Josh Kerr's way, and he's like, "Hey, I'm better than you at this stuff." When you do it that way, and it was masterful. Like, you could see with 200 to go, like, yeah. Mr. Kerr's not having it today. And also, I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures from the semifinal when Ingebrigtsen is doing all this nonsense. Kerr's looking at him smiling.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I love it, man. This is what the world champs are about. It's a different race. It's a different methodology. It's a different mindset. And if you can't win in both ways, then you are going to lose. It's just that simple.
Well, two things. I want to jump in here real quick. 2 things. One, dear Mr. Ingebrigtsen, we can go all the way back to Steve Prefontaine. Like, you can't win a men's distance race running from the front. It's not a thing.
Nope.
2, what I really wanted to say is, one of the 7 deadly sins is hubris. Everybody in the world trains to win the world championship. The fact that your arrogance allowed you to show up and think, I'm just way more talented and way more fit, and I can win this race regardless of how it goes out, is so ridiculously arrogant that the best thing that could have happened to him and the sport was that he lost. So
Two
I
times.
was here for all of it, right? He got beat by not one, but two different Brits
Mm.
in the last 2 years. And evidently, right? Because I was in the huddle a little bit with this nonsense for a long story, but the person who runs Decathletes of Europe, she's British.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently, they have had their own little pact to never let this dude win. So I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. No, it was awesome.
And what's next?
We are going to the high jump. Men's high jump.
Woo!
Incredible competition, right?
That was.
Absolutely.
Wait. I had to get a diaper for the men. Let me say about Mr. Ingebrigtsen. I love everything that everybody just said. Baby boy, give me a second, okay? I love everything that everybody's against and all that. But I find it interesting. Not that the LLC specifically the government, has this opinion about this athlete when he is far from the only one that shows this type of arrogance and hubris. Never hear you say these things about anyone else. So my thing is, I love Ingebrigtsen. I love the fact that he has been as dominant as he has been and has had the guts to say it. I think he went out there trying to prove a point. He put himself, he lost. And I'm here for all of it. I like the dude. I think ultimately, you know, I just enjoy watching him compete. I don't find the things that I don't know. I guess I don't find him disrespectful. And I love the fact that people take it as disrespect and work specifically to beat him. I think that's good for all things in the world of distance, right? Distance doesn't usually have much of an attitude to it. He does, so I love it. But I also enjoyed watching him take the L. So, you know, I'm cool on all sides, but I did find it interesting. I never hear you criticize anybody else that does these things.
Look, and so just so you understand, it would take a lot for me to root against you, right? And the thing about it is, I am all for great performances, and God knows we've seen a lot of it from this young man. I mean, he is still very young in his career. I just, when I saw the semi, I just said to myself, you have given every contender in this event bullet board material. Like it's like I know for me, it would be personal. It would be personal. And I mean, I'm here for it. So when it actually happened, did anyone see Sebco step out on that track? Did anyone see that? Sebco stepped out and put the medal on Kerr.
He did.
Yes, and said a few kind words to him. It was, you cannot tell me that was not like special for Sebastian Lord Coe. Okay.
Oh no, listen, Ingebrigtsen's the supervillain of mid-distance run.
Yes, he is.
Ain't no.
Yes, he is.
And
so, no, I mean, I want to see. I'm all for it. I'm all for great performances. I just thought he took it to another level in that semi, and yeah. Let's move on.
Okay. High jump. Men's high jump.
What can you say?
Incredible competition.
It absolutely was. And listen, I root for Javon Harrison, but the Italian man, Tim Berry's just the guy. Like,
Style,
he's incredibly hard to kill.
Style.
If you were watching the preliminaries, you know, he was struggling to get through them.
Yeah.
Didn't he take 2 attempts? If not, he went to the 3rd attempt in the first bar, if not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, like, it doesn't matter how ugly it looks. That dude finds a way to get things done, and he's incredibly hard to kill. It was a phenomenal competition. Lots of fun.
I loved, I think this was definitely a coming of age for Javon.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time since an American has been in the mix. And, you know, you hate to put an entire nation on someone's shoulders, but this young man is going to be the guy for a very, very long time.
Oh, he's the future.
Injuries notwithstanding,
Mhm.
like he is going to be that representative, you know, and I'm excited for him. I just hope that he can manage the injuries as he goes along with his career.
Um,
Can
did
I
anybody else
ask
have a
you,
little
Ken?
hole in their heart when Barsham didn't make it?
No, I
Look,
mean, look, that
Barsham had his time.
it wasn't his day. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just didn't get the sense that it was.
Do we all agree that Barsham was the man for a while?
Yes.
And if he doesn't get injured, had a legitimate chance to get the world record.
Had several cracks at it.
Let's go backwards. It had nothing to do with him being injured. There was some hubris involved there as well. And I want to say that you are using did as past tense. Let's be clear. Barshim is still the favorite to win in 2024, as he should be. He's still the best guy in the world. He just didn't jump particularly well.
Yeah.
And I mean, he knows better than to leave things late to Tambiri. They trained together. And nobody knows what to expect from Javon because, unlike everybody else, his ability to high jump is based off of emotion and adrenaline. Right?
It's
Like
still
he's not a technical
not
master.
polished.
He's still very, very raw. Trust me, if he figures it out how to be less raw, they can't beat him.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I wanted to go. For me, Javon's the future, and as he cleans his technical issues up, I think he can challenge the world record one day. Would you all agree?
Listen, man. Javon right now has no shot of making 240. When he cleans it up, I think he has a shot at and will make 240. That's still 5 centimeters from 245.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
See, and this is what I'm going to say to all that. Okay, I think the cardinal sin of a lot of this is everybody wants to talk about world records. Okay, in my opinion, he should be more concerned with continuing to win world and Olympic titles. If the world record comes, it comes. Right? I'm not saying he shouldn't try to break the world record, but I don't think that should be his major focus. His major focus needs to be to get back to the top of the podium.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
If I was training for the high jump, my whole goal in life would be to be able to make 240 clean. Because I'm telling you right now, if you make 240 clean, you're going to win the Olympics.
You're going to win.
Right? The whole rest of it is not really relevant. If you can make 240 on your first attempt, you will win the Olympics. You can write that one down. It's a fact.
Yeah.
Got it. 240. Do that.
I mean, there aren't 5 people in the world that have made 240 on their
first.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, like I couldn't agree with Sir Lucius more that like there are certain world records you just leave alone, and if they come, they come. Barshim had an opportunity along the way to actually pursue and go after specifically the world record. We're past that. So at this point in time, he should be in the same group as everybody else. Because let's be clear, when they go to these meets, he's competing against 3 people.
Yeah.
Right. They're like the guys that can jump 240, that's a short list. And so it should be about between now and 2024, how clean can I be through 240?
And as a side note before we move on, like one of the cardinal rules, and I hate like bringing in old school, but now that these 3 are the 3, every single time 2 or 1 are at a meet, the other 2 need to be there. Like that is how you elevate your sport. That's how you elevate the jumps. right? There has to be a constant, like, oh, not you again. Like,
Yeah.
is this what it's going to be today? I mean, and those are the things that keep pushing you, you know? So if we're going to see 240s, like those three have to line up multiple times and go at each other's throats.
All right. Moving on. Women's disc. That one was a
Wow.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
like
Let's start with Governor. Pronounce her name.
Lagi.
Saga. Didn't we talk about this
Yeah.
on the last show? I thought we did.
We did.
Chu, are you on the wrong schedule again?
She's on the wrong page. Yeah.
Ah, shoot.
Men's
Good.
4 hurdles is next.
Yes.
Oh boy. Can we talk about the disc again?
Hey.
I promise everybody who watches the show, for real, we're professionals. For real, we have meetings. We talk about
there it
what
is.
we're going to
Okay.
talk
I
about
see
on
what
the
I did.
show. But Chu has gotten drunk with her own power and it's just gone off the rails.
Oh,
She
I-
runs the show and now she's just decided we're going to do whatever the heck she says.
No, I scrolled and that's what happened. So
okay.
Stop scrolling, Chu.
What do you
I
have?
know. Women's 400.
Women's 400. Okay.
Yes, my fault. My fault.
I mean, I like no surprises there. You know, I think Paulina was the best one, and she was the best one. I don't even remember who got second, to be honest with you.
Kaczmarek.
You know?
Kaczmarek.
Yeah.
Poland and Williams was third from Barbados.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good race, but I think, you know, for all the events at this year's Worlds that were packed with star power, obviously the women's 400 lost.
Yes.
We all wanted to see
Yes.
with the action with Sid. Paulino was great. She ran a great time. It was a great performance. But the whole point was we wanted to see a battle. And Kaczmarek, as good as she was, couldn't provide that. So that was one of the least entertaining, least climactic events of the program, right? And it's just because the unicorn was missing. So
Right.
congrats to Paulino, no shade. She's the world champ. And maybe that race would have been good enough to beat Sid. Maybe she could have ran a little bit faster if Sid was there. I don't know. But she's the world champ and she should be celebrated as such.
Absolutely. Next, Chu.
Men's 400 meter hurdles.
Oh boy.
Oof.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, look, the Viking proved once again that he is who he is. He's the best guy. The rest of the world has some work to do mentally and physically to catch up to the young.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that at the end of the day, and I've got one of those guys that was in that final. We all have to go back to the drawing board and go, you know, we have to find a way to get to this level because that dude's not going away.
Mm-mm.
You know, and I think we were all disappointed in the times. I think because of the expectations of what happened the last time all those guys got together, we thought the time would be better. And I think that there was if you watched the race, it was weird. Like nobody other than the Viking ran their race model. You know, like ran what they're comfortable doing. You know, so.
Okay.
So Clyde, you want to address the what he
I
said
do,
in
because
the interview compared to
speaking
All
of
right, wait. Can I go before you, Clyde? Because I want you to go last, and I want to be paying attention to what you say and not having to think about what I have to say.
go ahead.
There's been a lot of talk in the world in the last 365 days, and in particular, out of one person in my group about alphas and betas. And I've heard Rye be called a beta more times than should ever happen. I'll say that. And I don't necessarily think that that's true, but I will say this. There is something to be said for letting somebody else dictate your actions. And I think if you're trying to win a world championship, you have to be the best version of you and let the chips fall at that point. I don't think you can let what somebody else does make decisions as to what you and your coach decide to do. When and where you do is a whole nother debacle, and Clyde will definitely deal with that. But I'll say this. If I'm a fighter, I'm going to win, lose, draw, die, or live based on my own abilities to fight. What I'm not going to do is decide I got to fight a different way to fight this particular person. This is not a Rocky movie. Apollo Creed is not going to come out and teach me how to fight like him, and then I'm going to beat, the black guy.
Okay, let me ask you this, though, world champion. If you don't change something, you get the same result.
Okay, I don't disagree with you.
But you just did.
But no. Changing something, I think, is relevant. But I think the change has to be based on your own particular strengths. It can't be based on what you believe you have to do to beat him.
Okay, so
does that make sense?
Here's what I'm gonna tell you. Okay, I don't think that anybody's okay, but it's like this. Okay, if you don't base it on what it's going to take to beat him, then you're not going to beat him. Okay, because the bottom line is this. If you're going to beat him, you better be ready to run 45 seconds.
Yep.
That's my point.
So
right
you
there.
have to change something in your training, in your mindset to get to 45 seconds.
You and I are in complete agreement. I think the changes that need to be made on what needs to happen to run 45-50. Not necessarily what needs to happen to attack this particular person. That's just my own personal belief.
But wait a minute. Okay. when it comes to the specimen that is Rai Benjamin, those two are one and the same. I've said it before, I will say it again, I will continue to say it until it changes. Rai Benjamin is my favorite male athlete in this sport and remains so. He made, from where I sit, I'm not his coach, I'm not involved. For years, we have watched Rai Benjamin take losses to Karsten Warholm, arrogantly running the pattern that suits Warholm, 13 for 10. That was Moses' pattern. And in his brain, he said it in interviews, his coaches, if we just get him stronger, he's already faster. He's going to be able to overtake him in the end. The problem is, in order to fit in his 13 steps, he had to significantly slow himself down over the first half of the race. It's on film. You can watch it. He's done it a million times. So people like me and a bunch of others have said the obvious change is do the 12 steps down the backstretch. You won't have to slow yourself down, and it'll be there at the end. Yes. He made that change. My problem is you don't unveil that change arrogantly in the finals of the world championships. Yes. That's not the place to break it out for the first time. Yeah. I don't understand the idea, because all week Rai was giving interviews like, oh, I got something coming in the final. I'm like, we're going to do this for the first time as a pro?
The actual words came out
in the final?
Yes.
And so for me, watching the last couple of years and then watching how this week played out, the problem is still the same problem: arrogance. You can't be arrogant enough to think that you can take down that guy who, for money, is the greatest ever. 45 seconds now, 3 world championships, 1 Olympics, and 1 coming up, because you ain't gonna beat him there most likely either, right? You think that you're gonna throw something out there in the final and it's gonna go perfectly? What new race model in any event goes perfectly the first time you try it? He did the first half correctly, perfectly, and he couldn't hold on to it because he's never done it in a race that mattered. He didn't know how to finish it.
So let me throw you a caveat to that. Okay. So could he not finish it because it's the first time he did it? Or maybe he wasn't strong enough to finish it.
Whatever the reason.
But again, but exactly. But my thing is this: I don't totally buy into the first time doing it, because he's done it in practice.
Yes.
And the question, let me finish. Let me finish. I heard what you said. All I'm saying is this, okay? If you are coached by me and I tell you to go out and do that, okay, So had Sid ever gone out in 23 seconds or whatever she went out last year at the 200 when she broke the world record? She had not.
No.
But the pattern was the same.
The speed wasn't. It's something different. Something she'd never done before. Okay, never done before, right? So she'd never done before in a competition. We see that all the time. Okay, I don't think the whole unveiling of it in the finals was the problem. The problem I have is whenever he does 12 steps, and the world champion and I have talked about this, there's something about the 12-step rhythm in the middle of the race that jacks him up. And I don't know what it is. I don't train. I have no idea what's going on. Okay? I'm just telling you, whenever he tries that.
But wait a minute. You say whenever he tries it. He did it one time in a prelim at the Pac-12s in 2017.
Right. And again, I have talked to the kid.
No. I understand. So this is what I'm asking you. It's a question. He did it once in college on accident in a prelim, and at this year's World Championships. What other race?
Okay. So you're right about that. All I'm telling you is this: I just don't agree that him unveiling it. Okay, him doing it by accident in the World Championship final would be an issue for me. Right. Now, if he's done it enough in practice and he feels confident enough to do it in the meet, that's what practice is for. Okay. So if he's confident enough to do it, all I'm saying to you is this, is that if you watch the race, him doing those 12 steps, when he went back to 13, the 13 wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he opened up his stride. Okay. Sometimes in my experience in coaching the 400 hurdles, it's better to chop a little bit to carry your speed through the hurdle than to reach and decelerate to take it. And I think that's what happens when he takes 12.
I would agree with that.
That's what I think what happens when he takes 12.
Well, at his size, with his leg length, and at his speed capabilities, he does not have to reach to make the 12. We have that on video. Did it look a little reachy to me in the race? Yes.
Okay, hold on a second. So you just contradicted yourself. So he does have to reach to take 12 a little bit.
Wait a minute. No, sir, because I have another piece of film in a race where he didn't reach to do it. So this is my point. If you practice it, you can practice it in practice all you want. We all understand that. But doing it in a race, in that particular heat, in that particular competition level, on that stage, the first time you try, why not do it in the first 2 rounds?
Because you're not going that fast. You know.
Wait a minute. You could do you could do that for the first 2 rounds.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. So you asked me a question.
I hear you.
Okay. So if I'm coaching Rye Benjamin, he's not taking 12 steps in the first 2 rounds. He's not doing it. I personally have no issue with the do it for the first time deal. What I have an issue with is the cause and effect, right? See, we've had private discussions about the young man that I coach, Trevor Bassett. And Trevor's a guy that everybody says, well, he took 12 from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5 last year at Worlds. Newsflash, it was totally by accident. He panicked because somebody got away from him and he reached to do it. So we're working on this. And every time we take 12 from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5, it jacks up 6, 7, and 8, right? Okay. So I personally think that Rye's issue is not having to take 12. Because taking 12, if you watch what he was touchdown on the 5th hurdle, it's the same. He's faster.
And that would be wrong. It's just of course, you don't take 12 if you're going to end up the same when you take 13. That's insane. That's the point. So it was obviously not executed the way it needed to be.
But see, this is where you're missing my point, sir, is that that's the issue. Is I think that even though, because everybody talks about how tall he is and how long he is, it's more difficult for him to take 12 than we realize. And so because he takes the 12 and it messes up his acceleration, that is the slowest rise been from 5 to 8 since he became a professional in a big race. So I think what he did from 3 to 4 and 4 and 5 crushed his momentum, and he didn't have the momentum that he had coming on. So again, I don't think he's any stronger than he was before. I think that the whole issue, look, again, I don't coach Rye, can't tell you what to do in training, But in my opinion, I just don't believe that the whole idea that he has to take 12 to beat this guy is the deal. And I don't think the whole unveiling it for the first time is an issue. More so that what it did to him is an issue. That's just me. We can both be wrong.
At the end of the day, Warholm owns the world.
Exactly. There's no doubt about that.
And everybody,
Warholm is walking around with both his pockets turned outside, and people are just holding on to his pocket. Like, I mean, there is no event where any one person owns everybody else more so, except for the men's pole vault.
Shot put?
Nope. Because if you because here's what I'm saying. If you look, Joe Kovacs truly believes he can beat Ryan Krauser because he has. You see what I'm saying? Like, I understand what you guys are saying. Like,
hasn't Mondo lost this year? Okay.
No.
He did lose earlier this year. He absolutely did.
Sure,
I watched it. I know that he did.
But he messed up. Nobody can beat him.
Okay, it doesn't matter. He lost. Don't change the narrative.
No, I'm not changing the narrative. What I'm saying is we're talking about mentalities. My point is this. I don't think anybody in the 400 hurdles really believes they can beat this dude. They all talk a good game.
Wait a minute. That was the point that got lost because the way you started out talking about Ryan, people calling him a beta. Ryan's not a beta.
He's not a beta.
I think he is overly arrogant about what he can and cannot do.
Well, personally,
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, I think we're tossing around arrogance quite a bit here, and I'm not sure that we know how. I don't think that Rye is arrogant. More so,
the interviews he was given this week.
Yeah, I mean, but my thing is this: is like, okay, he was confident in what he thought he could do. Does that make him arrogant, or does that just make him believe? Okay, he was confident what he thought he could do. He was wrong, right? He thought that what he and his coach Joanna Hayes put together was good enough to be the world champion. He was wrong. Would you prefer he get up there and go, "Oh, I'm not sure." I don't think that's arrogance. Okay, that means that anybody in any other race. So was Sharika Jackson arrogant in the 100? No,
Jackson won the event.
Okay, but she was second in the 100. Was she arrogant in the 100? Because you know what I'm saying. So you have a race model. You believe in what your coach has told you, and you're saying, "I can do this." That doesn't make you arrogant. That makes you confident in what you've been taught to do.
But sir, you know there's a difference between speaking confidently about your abilities and the way things are projected out in certain moments by athletes. You know that there's a difference there.
Oh, I know there's a huge difference, but I also know that if my athlete stands up and says, "I am capable of doing this," that doesn't make them arrogant. That makes them confident. So I don't think that I don't think that
he didn't say I'm capable of winning. He didn't say I'm capable of winning.
What did he say?
You haven't seen those interviews?
Obviously, I haven't. What did he say? Unless Rye stood up and said, "I am going to win," and it's not even going to be close, that's arrogance. I don't think
what he said.
He didn't say that.
Okay, I'm gonna find the clips.
You find it, but I promise you can send me something, but it ain't gonna say.
That's a good paraphrase of what he was saying.
But the man's up say we want to call the man an alpha. Then as an alpha, he's supposed to go to the line believing he can win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that's viewed as arrogance. I
don't think Rye is guilty of arrogance. I think Rye is currently owned, and he needs to figure it out. Because listen, there's a point in time that comes in an athletic career, right? Mike Powell used to be owned by Carl Lewis, 100%. Larry Myrick was owned by Carl Lewis, and let's be clear, I'm not sure that there were times in that greatness, there were times where Larry was better than Carl. But Larry never truly believed it on meet day.
Mm-hmm.
And Carl always truly believed he was going to win.
Yep.
And, I've been saying since all of my kids were little, true believers don't have to be convinced. So at some point in time, Rye is either going to decide that he is tired of losing or he's going to keep losing. Because that's what it comes down to.
Let me add this caveat to that. Is there a world where it's possible that Rye just can't beat him?
Yes.
I
Look,
said
yes.
I said a year ago. When the Viking was injured and tried to run it in Eugene, and Dos Santos won. What did I say? I said, if Rye doesn't figure this out, he's going to be relegated to a career where he continues to win medals, but they're going to be bronze. That's what I said. Because Dos Santos made the necessary changes and figured it out. This year, he was hurt. This year, Carson's back.
Yep.
He ain't hurt. And all these guys are young. It's not like any of them are old. They're all the same age.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go back to what I said. Even if they make the necessary, okay, here's the thing that Rye has to ask himself, and we all have to ask ourselves: are we asking him to do something he's not capable of doing?
I don't believe that. I still believe,
but again, okay, we don't know.
I believe that Rye Benjamin is the only man capable of putting that record, the male version of what Sid did. 45-0 to 45-5. Rye Benjamin can do
based
that.
On what?
And based on his speed aptitudes that Warholm does not have. If Rye
hold on a second.
Here's out his race.
So Rye has run 44 flat
and 19 and change.
It's 19 and change. Well, okay, so he's run 44 flat. So you believe that his time differential in the flat and the hurdles is only going to be 1 second?
I believe a second and a half.
Okay, so then a second and a half makes it 45-5. Right. So, but here's the thing. Let me finish. So then here's the problem. Rye needs to become a better hurdler.
He absolutely needs to become a better hurdler. His hurdle technique is terrible. It's terrible. Absolutely needs to become a better hurdler. But throwing out 44 flat as his PR, which it is his PR, acting like he runs that event often is nonsense. He can run 43 mid. We all know that.
I don't know. No, you don't know that because he's never done it.
All right.
You don't know.
I mean,
think that. See the whole. Even if this is the whole thing is this is all conjecture. This is all what people think. Okay, I'm a guy that deals with facts. The fact of the matter is, Rye runs faster in the 400 hurdles when he takes 13 the whole way. That's a fact.
Off of what?
Okay. Hold on a second. Okay, I don't care if it's off of a half a race. The bottom line is his personal best is from when he took 13 the whole way. He's more comfortable taking 13 the whole way. And if he wasn't, hold on. He's more comfortable taking 13 the whole way because if he wasn't, he'd take 12 more often. Okay? So all I'm going to tell you is this. Okay? If Rye is maybe we're asking Rye to do something he can't do. And if Rye really, in my opinion, my very humble, I'm going to start calling arrogant here. My very humble opinion is Rye's issue is not 12 steps. His issue is he needs to get stronger as far as like 800 meter type stuff, which I don't think he does. That's just, I don't know. And he also needs to become a better hurdle technician because he spends too much time in the air. The 12 steps is not the answer.
Drew.
We got a lot more events.
We got a lot to go.
All right. Men's long jump.
Wow.
Hey.
Wow.
Yeah. What's the dude's name that won it?
Tentacruel.
Yeah, because he went. They just keep letting him hang around.
Yes.
Right? Just let him hang around. And I'm like, you better put this dude away. But I don't know what you have to jump to put him away. That's the other problem, right? And it's like, but incredible job by him. And then you got to give Travis Geppert big high five. Yeah. I mean, his guys, they looked great and they jumped far.
Yeah.
Jamaica going 2-3-4 was phenomenal. And again, I just think that wow, that was
I think the scene was set. Go ahead. You want to go ahead?
I was just gonna say, Pinnock found out what Larry Myrick's could have told him. Right? You have to jump far. That's to eliminate everybody but the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He did that on jump one. Now you have 5 jumps that you need to use as daggers to kill the guy.
Yeah.
And every time you jump and you leave him alive, he gains energy. Because trust and believe, when he got to round 6 and it didn't require a PB to beat him, or like it didn't require a PB to win, for sure he said in Greek, I got this. Now, he might have thought he was going to lose on his last jump, right? Because he didn't have the very final jump. But I will tell you, he would have passed a lie detector that he knew he was going to go ahead in round 6.
Yeah.
Right? And the long jump is that. It's 2 phases. Phase 1 is being able to jump far. Phase 2 is being able to jump far when you need to. And Tentoglu is Carl Lewis-esque in his ability to, if you leave me a crack, I will kick the door in and go do what I do.
So
right? Like,
yeah. So
that's
what
just what that is.
we're seeing materialize in front of our eyes, the new era of the long jump is here. And Tentoglu is now taking the form of Saladino before him, Pedroso before him, Phillips before him, where they figured out how to dominate their era, right? When a long jumper, and the last time I saw, I mean, what Saladino did to the Italian jumper at World Champs, last jump, right? We literally saw Tentoglu literally measure out 852 on his last jump. If you look at the jump, he knew exactly where he needed to be to win.
He did.
And that is, you know, when you talk about supreme confidence, we just finished talking about Rai Benjamin and the issues that he's having right now. Right now, Tentoglu is of the mindset that if 862 is winning, I'm jumping 863. It's just that simple. And until someone, as world champion eloquently said it, kicks the doors in and says, okay, buddy, here's 870, go get it. All right? Then he's going to continue to win these championships. 850 is totally within his wheelhouse. So you leave that carrot dangling out there, I got this. Last jump, no problem.
Does it seem to y'all that Tentoglu's been around a lot longer than he actually has been? Because ironically, he has 1 Olympic championship and 1 world championship, and that's it. But it feels like he's been the guy for longer than that.
Longer than that, yes.
No? Did I miss one? Have they not updated their stuff?
He won indoors.
Yeah.
Outdoor perspective, yes.
No, but that's partly why it seems like he's been around so long. Is like they're stacking.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's won a bunch within this 5-year window we keep talking about. But the biggest thing is like, look, there's semantics to this. It's what the governor was talking about. If you watch the way Tentoglu lands, right? He lands left and right foot together, right? And a sit out, standard sit out, heels into the hole that the feet make, right? Look at his last jump.
Yep.
Heels left, butt cheeks to the right. Right? Like this was measured.
Yeah.
Like this isn't an
I'm
accident.
going to squeeze this out.
Yes. Yes. And people forget, like, this dude was a parkour guy beforehand. Like, he has insane body awareness.
Yeah.
So if you leave it to within centimeters, his ability to manipulate his body is better than everybody else in the world.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, this is one of those guys you got to Carl Lewis it. You got to go out and jump 865 on your first jump. Be like, chase that.
I'm gonna take you out of your comfort zone.
And Pinnock almost did it.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if the 50 was 60, it's a different jump.
Now, lost inside of all of that was the monster foul, and it was a foul, but we have not seen Tajay
Listen.
Gale in that arena jump that far in a long time.
The
And
only
I
human being
hate it.
that's ever jumped that far was Carl Lewis with the plane foul in Indianapolis at whatever that meet was. It was Scholastic, no, whatever sports festival.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
the only time anybody else has ever jumped over 9 meters.
So
But let's be
you
clear,
saw that world
jumps,
champion.
yes.
Okay.
That jump is over
right.
9 meters
Okay.
for sure. If you take away the foul, it's
Yeah.
still over 9 meters.
All right.
That jump was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I love it. Next, Chew.
All right, next we are going to the women's hammer throw.
Go Bears.
First of all, go Bears.
Go Bears.
Second of all, oh Canada. I said to Glenroy Gilbert, I was like, so y'all are a hammer throwing nation now? I was like, I heard that all the money from the sprints program is going towards throws because clearly y'all are a throwing nation because they won women's hammer, men's hammer. They got a medal in the shot. Like,
yeah. R.I.P. Bondarchuk. And it seems like his legacy is living on. I mean, obviously, when he settled in Canada on the West Coast and started to coach up athletes, Kebwe, right? He worked with Kebwe.
Yeah. And Kebwe and Dylan is now the
there
head
you
of the
go,
throws
and he's
world.
passing it on. Fantastic, man.
I feel like you killed somebody who's alive though.
Really?
I feel like Dr. B's still alive. Pretty sure he is.
Is he?
Pretty sure Dr. B's still alive.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure Dr. Bondarchuk is still alive, sir.
I stand corrected. I did not. I don't know if I'd heard it or something. Anyway.
Well, I think people thought that because he, like I said, he's not running the program anymore. Dylan is, but he's still running the program.
Okay.
Y'all are way off. Cameron, Rod.
Yeah.
We all have our we know a lot of people personally in this business. We spend a lot of time around these athletes. That was my favorite moment of the whole World Championships. And yes, it's because I know Cam personally. Yes, it's because I watched her train like no other person I've ever watched train for 2 years. Of all the things I witnessed in Budapest, that was the moment that literally made me tear up. Love you, Cam. Amazing. No one deserves it more. And to see a person grind like she does and deliver a world championship, she it's her first year full of being a pro. Okay, like Cam is special, and she has a very, very special work ethic. She represents the best of this sport. She does literally everything the way you're supposed to do it. So bravo to Cam, and I hope
the thing that comes to mind is disposition. I will never forget Robin coming up to me after she fouled out in New Mexico. And she goes, "Do you know what Cameron said?" And I said, "No." She goes, "Cameron said, well, that happened." Like, hello. Like that tells you all you need to know about who she is, right? To put it in perspective, okay, yes, I screwed up, I fouled out. Let's move on, and then to culminate and finish her career, her season with a world championship gold medal. Come on now.
Rookie season. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rookie season.
I mean, yeah, let's be clear. She's going to be damn near impossible to beat next year.
Oh, man. Can't wait.
For the internet, Bondarchuk's still alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I sent that to you, KST.
I stand corrected.
All right. Moving on. And shout out to the Americans going 2-3.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to
again, last year everybody thought that that North America winning all 3 hammer medals was an anomaly because a bunch of Europeans didn't come because European championships last year. I'll be honest, I was one of those people. So watching it happen again this year on the Truly Global, yeah, it's a real thing, folks. It's a real thing. The
Women's
hammer has
100
become a
hurdles.
North American thing.
Big league.
Women's 100-meter hurdles.
Oh God.
Oh,
Wow.
Upset
Wow.
of the meet.
That
Maybe.
was crazy.
Yeah, that in the mixed relay, yeah.
No, women's
yeah.
discus.
Oh, you
For
okay?
upset, for upset of the meet.
Yeah, okay.
But
Listen,
but yes, we're all on the same
Look,
page.
but
We're
there
all on
were
the
some
same
people that
page.
didn't have Danny making the final, right?
Yeah, I say we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Me,
So
better
like
than
when it comes to this race, like if you watch the rounds, you're thinking Kenny, but you know there's Camacho, and then anybody that knows the sport feels like if Nia Ali gets in the final,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right. You don't bet against Nia in a final. Then the gun goes off and Miss Charlton is gone.
Yes.
But you have to be paying attention because Danielle's right there with her,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's like she showed up and got it done. And, but I'm gonna get out here and make y'all run me down.
Yeah.
You know?
that race was crazy. Nia, who I had picked, and I think a lot of people were ready to give the crown to. Nia smacked the hell out the first hurdle and it was over. The field's too good at it, right? Devin might be the best starter on the planet right now.
Man.
Watch the replay. She hit her first hurdle too. It didn't destroy her race, but it knocked her off enough to cost her a medal. She ultimately finishes fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Paying attention to Danielle until about hurdle 6. I'm like, wait, who's on the inside? Oh my God, it's Danielle.
Who's been there before?
Right. Everybody knows I was in Division 2. Danielle Williams, Vashti Thomas. I grew up watching this with Danielle, right? She's a hell of a competitor. People forget she could sprint for real, right? She's a 22-second, 11-1 type girl in college, right? Danielle's real. And what made this story so cool for me is it's been 8 years since she was the world champ.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In this sport with that kind of gap between world championships is Tiana, which was 10.
Yeah.
Like Danielle's been through so much.
Yeah, she has.
Lennox to get that done, bravo, man. Like that was amazing. That was amazing.
All right.
Yeah, shout out to Lennox Graham.
Yes. Men's 400. Oof.
Nobody saw that coming.
Who saw this coming?
Listen,
No.
anybody who tells you they saw that coming, they're a liar.
Glenn Mills might have saw it coming.
He might have believed it. Yes.
Yeah, after the semi, I was asked like, who you betting on? Honestly, I'm like, I gotta say, well, I gotta bet on my guy Quincy, right? But then at the end of the day, the guy that looked better than everybody in the semi, even though he didn't win his heat, was Vernon Norwood.
Vernon Norwood.
It just looked so easy for him.
Yes.
Yep. And then like Matthew just went out and was like dared everybody to go with him and catch him. And then with like 100 to go, it was like you got no idea. And then the Jamaican just kept coming and kept coming.
Yeah.
And then with 30 to go, it's like he's going to win because he was the only one that held his composure right through the line. Great run by the young man. Incredible run by him.
The 400 was nuts. In full, for the audience, I'm at Worlds as a spectator. The Godfather is in the back taking every medal available, and the governors and the EP and Chewy here are consuming themselves with 13 events that are the decathlon, right? So we're texting, not sitting with each other, right? We're texting.
Very true.
It's 12 plus 1. Yes.
Like, who are you going to pick? And I said, I don't know who the hell I'm going to pick. Race is all of these should have been, but never have been guys. And then, and the literal kid won it.
Yeah.
It was
fantastic,
crazy.
man.
Looked
It sets
amazing.
up well for next year. It really does. Because I don't think those big dogs are done by any stretch. But
Whoa, what big dogs are you speaking of?
Benny Kirk.
Got to find a way to stay healthy, obviously.
Stevie Gardner.
Yeah, Stephen Gardner.
Stevie, I'm gonna give you Stevie, but I think the other two, and we'll see where Karani goes.
Yeah.
But there's nothing about what Wade is doing now that makes me think he's gonna be Wade again. You know, like I mean, one-off races, as we all know, are different than
3
championship
rounds.
racing is different. Karani's the one I think that is the dangerous one because there's going to be a season dedicated to Harvey now.
Yes,
and
that's I can tell you that for sure.
Right, and like I know I'm very good friends with Stevie's coach Gary Evans, and Gary says that Stevie's done things that to say 43 mid, he just has a hard time keeping him healthy. I think it was a groin or something this time. I forget what it was, but
quad.
Quad. There you go. They knew going into that round that it was a problem.
Yeah. And how about Mr. Hall? I mean, what can you say?
Wow.
What can you say?
He overcame his coaching. That's what I'd say.
He is the epitome of this isn't going to be pretty, folks. Okay?
Yeah.
So, but you want to talk about
I promise you the last thing I said to him was with 100 to go, please stand up tall and keep your stride open.
Yep.
And he leaned forward and said, I'm getting to this line.
Follow him.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like that, Coach.
It be like that, Coach.
Yep.
Sometimes it just be like that, Coach.
All right.
Big league.
Women's 400-meter hurdles.
Okay. There's no surprise.
Okay, so
but look, big kudos to
next.
Big kudos.
No.
Big kudos to Shamir Little for her second place.
You know? Yeah,
absolutely.
And what place did Anna Cockle end up getting?
5th.
4th, right? 5th.
Yeah, but big PB
big
for
PB.
Yeah,
big
PB for her.
Yeah.
Yes.
The unfortunate part, and I was joking obviously about Femke bowling next, but the unfortunate part is this: like sometimes people break the internet, right? So Sid ruined the event, and Femke has ruined it for everybody else, right? Like that's the problem: is that Femke is only running against like the ghost of the woman who's not running the event anymore because she can't lose to everybody behind her, right? And the person that we want to see race Femke is not running the race this year. So at the end of the day, like it was an entertaining watch for a second. You know what I mean? Like seriously, I will be completely forthright. I watched Shamir Little from gun to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I can never watch Femke at all because why? I wanted to see what was going to happen behind that.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I spent most of my time watching Shamir. I'm a fan of Shamir. I wanted to see her get that silver. I paid attention to Femke at about 300, just so I could say this on the LLC. I am a bigger fan of Femke Bowl than I am of Sydney. I find Femke more interesting. But people, Sid is Sid. Stop with this nonsense. There was no world where Femke was going to challenge that record.
No.
She's not going to challenge that record. If Sid gets bored enough, maybe she'll run it again. But stop it. Like there's certain things in this world, just stop. It's not a thing. She can't do
it. There were two conversations being had back in the warm-up area that I found absolutely laughable. Mm-hmm. One was that Femke was going to challenge Sid's record.
Oh boy.
And the other one was that Femke was going to lose because she fell.
Oh, and really?
Now,
yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I'm going to ask the question. I don't expect you to answer it, but either way, we're going to be entertained. People understand what he just said. It's one thing for us to read Twitter and read Facebook and read these track groups where you see ignorant people talk about issues like this. But
uneducated
say things like this. But you see, Sir Lucius was in the warm-up area at the World Championships. And there were people that said Femke is going to get the record or challenge it, or she was going to lose. I would love for you to just give us 2 or 3 names of those people. and I knew he wouldn't. But that's how deep the ignorance have gotten on this issue.
Uneducated.
All right.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Women's triple jump.
Oh,
Just like,
Drama. Yeah.
just again, just like what we saw with Glue. I think with Rojas, it's the same thing. What, 15 meters?
Yes.
Last jump? You mean
Yeah.
I just need to go 15:08 and I win? Hey, hold on to this beer real quick. No, sorry, my Perrier.
Hold my blanket.
Hold on
Hold
to
my
my
blanket.
Perrier real quick.
Governor, I don't like that. I'm gonna have to disagree with you. Rojas looked horrible.
Absolutely.
That's exactly my point.
That's
Clyde.
the point. Yeah, is that
That
she
is
looked
exactly
like trash.
my point.
She looked like trash and probably had accepted that, the streak was over. She was going to lose.
Mhm.
But then she got to round 6. She's like, that's all y'all have jumped?
That's my point, Clyde. You're
Like
making
today
point
was the
for me.
day I lose, and that's all y'all. I can do this.
Yes.
Not feeling good.
Yes. This is my 65%. There
Listen,
you go.
I understand she's the greatest. Like,
Mhm.
but yeah, that event got really interesting.
It doesn't. So what I'm saying, it didn't diminish.
It really
the
wasn't
fact that
interesting.
she saw she could win and she won. That's all I'm saying.
And that's what champions do.
That's what champions do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And who was second? The long jumper converted to triple jump.
Yep. 15 meters on your first jump.
Yep.
Here we go.
That's
Set the stage.
I like Beck. In that moment, I was rooting for Beck because if not at that time, then never again.
Mhm.
Right?
Not gonna happen.
You could have got that one done. I was rooting for her in that space.
All right. Women's jav.
There's a thought that you have to be tall and long and fast and all these things to win the javelin.
Mhm.
And then you don't. And then you don't. I think she's 5'6".
She's a little bit taller than me, so I'm going to give her 5'7", 5'8".
5'3",
No,
you said?
I was gonna say she's definitely not 5. Listen. There's no world that she's 5'8".
But I'm saying, so I walked by her a couple times at the hotel, and she's definitely taller than I. I give myself a generous 5'5", 5'4 3/4", if I say it right.
And
And again,
to
if
elevate-
she's 5'7", then we're giving her everything she's got. And technically she's not a mess, but again, she's the best version of what she does. But trust me, don't try that at home, because she's in positions that will blow all your back out real fast. But at the end of the day, she threw the living snot out of that javelin. And when it left her hand, I was like, there's your W.
Yep. And
Before it landed, I was like, no shot.
As for folks that are wondering who Ruiz Hurtado is, she's only 33 years old, right? Well, she'll be 33 this year. She's been around forever, 3-time South American champion. And at 32, she goes out, throws a PB, sets an area record at the World Championships, gets a silver medal. What more can you ask for? And once again, I think the event delivers if you're really truly paying attention. I mean, what we just experienced last year, oh man.
Yep.
Oh, So in an event that supposedly will destroy your body, we're seeing older, more mature throwers that are coming up big when it counts,
On the women's side.
On the women's side.
On the men's side.
We don't need to talk about the men's javelin. Chopra, done. Next.
All right. The 200s, both genders.
Ooh, start with what? Which one?
Let's go with the women because they raced first.
Well, I mean, I think the big question before that final was she going to get to the world record?
Mm-hmm.
After watching her in the semi, which looked very smooth, controlled, and easy, I think we all saw the assault happen. And I think with 50 to go, everybody was like, is she going to get it? And then the clock stopped and you're like, dang, right?
Yeah.
But it was a clinic by her. Kudos to Gabby and Sha'Carri. I don't think there's a lot of people, not anyone who had Sha'Carri getting third in that final before the meet started.
Yep.
And I think that the three of them are all young, and that bodes well for the future of that event as well.
I mean, look, every single one of us has been around an angry Black woman, so we know what that face looks like. From the introductions, there was no shot anybody was beating her.
No.
You could see it on her face, like, not today.
Yeah.
There may be other days, maybe other times, but let me just tell y'all, not today.
And let's be clear on something too. Like, Sha'Carri just beat her in the 100. Like, she ran 10.72. She didn't lose that one. She didn't give that away. She ran a great race. Sha'Carri was just better, And I think that her charge was, oh, hey, you're gonna have to really run fast to beat me in this one. And I want to give some credit to Sha'Carri, because I think she's still learning that event, because she's yet to run the turn in that race. She's either, like, early in the season, she was running the turn and not the straightaway. In the championship, she was okay on the turn and then trying to come better on the straightaway. So I'd be interested to watch Dennis mature her and get her ready for that event. I think for me anyway, I would believe the better she gets into 2, it's going to make her 100 that much better as well.
So the question that pops into my mind, and thanks to PJ Vasil doing his expert breakdowns of the race, she ran 10.97 on the turn.
Yes.
Okay. You compare that to Flojo, who ran 11.11 on the turn, and you wonder if the race distribution was a little bit too much. She was booking. I mean, that's one of the best turns I've ever seen in a 200. I mean, I'd love to know what the fastest turns we've ever seen are, in the 200. That has to be up there. But then you see the flip side. Flojo runs 10.23 on the straight. She runs 10.44. So that's where you start to see some differences there, some nuances. But second fastest 200 of all time. Hey, you pack it up, you go home, say thanks for coming. Fantastic performance.
I have a few things on the women's 200, because let's be real, there were a lot of storylines going into that. First and foremost, Shericka Jackson, whether you like her or you hate her, is the best female overall sprinter on the planet right now. Full stop. And that 200 displayed, how much better, she is holistically over the field. If not for a negligible win, she gets the world record. You take that race and give her a 1.0, a 1.3, a 1.5, whatever behind her, she has the world record. So I thought it was brilliant. I also appreciate her unwillingness to engage in the Flojo discussion post-race. Those conversations are left for people like us and prognosticators and bloggers. I'm here for us having those conversations, but it's not her place to do that. And I love how she just dismisses those questions, rightfully so. It speaks to her professionalism, and I appreciate that about Shericka Jackson. Gabby, once again, does exactly what she has been doing, what no one wants to pay attention and recognize. Gabby is an excellent championship runner. Gabby somehow has developed a reputation for not running well in championships, which is ridiculous, because she always does run well.
Yep.
If she's hurt, she's hurt. But when she shows up at the line at a major, she runs well. And she came home with another medal, the silver medal, which half of the population didn't think she could get, and the other half probably weren't rooting for her to get. So she went out there and did the job that she came to do, and it took a damn near world record, the number 2 all time, to take it away from her. Yep. So Gabby,
hey, whoa. It didn't take that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't take that.
She beat her by like 0.2. It was 0.3 of a second.
Yeah,
Didn't take that to do it.
It was an ass whooping. But
Exactly. But see, you acted as if like if she didn't run 21:41, she would have got beat. She curb stopped her. It didn't take that to beat her.
No, sir. No, Sid. No. See,
That's what you said.
I know exactly what I said, and I said it the exact way I wanted to say it because
I know you did, but you're wrong.
This respectful conversation aimed at Gabby wasn't about Sharika. It was about the other star name in the race, right? People are just out there disrespecting Gabby like she's not good at this. Like,
oh no, I get all that. I'm just, and I know it's probably semantics on your part. But when you say it took damn near a world record for her to get beat, that makes it sound like if she didn't almost break the world record, she wouldn't have lost.
I mean, that's fine. But again, I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on Gabby and her performance, which was
phenomenal performance by Gabby.
Does not get the respect in this business that she has earned. She just doesn't. And let me be clear, she only doesn't get it from the American side of the audience. Because if you were in Budapest and walking around, it was Gabby's poster plastered all around the city. Gabby gets her just due outside of the United States, but she doesn't get it inside the United States. And this is another moment where she did exactly what she was supposed to do, and everybody should be giving her more props for it.
So let's briefly say why. She hasn't gotten the respect because she hasn't won. Mm-hmm. That's what the American society is about, right? Now, we respect her, but you don't see people that get second and third getting the attention that you're talking about.
Okay, I'll give you a part of that, but point to the American contingent that loudly, overly roots for Gabby to win. It doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Prior to the championship, half the country's rooting for Miss Richardson to win. It's something about.
We know that's a whole different can of worms, sir.
But yes, and that's what I'm about.
Okay, so to your point, Sha'Carri appeals to a different culture.
Yep.
Sha'Carri appeals to a different audience than Gabby ever will. Mm-hmm. The audience that Sha'Carri is appealing to is a much louder contingent.
Okay. Well, Gabby deserves more respect. And
I'll ride with you on that one then.
And to the point, Sha'Carri got a bronze medal in the 200. That deserves respect. That deserves props. It's not easy to do. It's her secondary event. I think it was the first time she was win legal under 22 seconds. Mm-hmm. You know, bravo and props to her on that. We have, moving forward, an excellent group of 200-meter runners that are, most part, very young. And the future for us in the 100 and the 200 is bright. So, you know, I was happy with all of that, but there were so many storylines in that race.
Can we talk about the world? Can we talk about the world champion?
Oh, wow. Look, Noah, first of all, Noah's the man in the 200, giving his props. Talk about a curve. He beat the field by 0.2 of a second.
Yep.
So you're giving us props there. And look, kudos to Ariane, kudos to the 19 and the 20-year-old who were second and third. But like, all I got to say about Noah's comment about the world championships when it comes to the NBA is, one, they've been called the world champions since before probably any of us were born, right? And that's a long time because I'm old, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other side of it is this, like, I'm not sure why everybody's making this a big deal. Okay? This has been going on for ages. Yep. But now all of a sudden there's an issue because Noah and I don't understand why it saddens Noah to have to hear that. Okay?
Ridiculous.
No, I'm not in his circle, I'm not in the huddle. Don't know why that saddens him. I just think that there's bigger issues that Noah could have addressed concerning track and field at that moment when you have the world at your fingertips. That's when you have the world in your hand.
How do
you're the double sprint champion.
Your platform?
Yeah, like, your platform, in my opinion. Yes. Look, y'all know Noah's my guy. I've known him since he was a baby. right? But in my opinion, that we could have found something else to talk about other than the NBA calling themselves the world champions. How about we talk about equitable money distribution among track and field athletes?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other things we could talk about.
Let's talk about
because
that.
Guess what? The NBA doesn't care what you think or what we think, but they're taking their millions and billions of dollars and going to the bank with it.
Yep.
So I don't know why we spend I'm not wasting my words talking about it. They can call themselves what they want.
Go ahead, world champion.
I think, kudos go to the world champion for his performance on the track. The moment he stopped running and started running his mouth, he lost me. And more importantly, look, Noah is the most important guy in the sport of track and field right now. He just is, because he's made himself that. He's made himself that, right? He's the biggest voice. When he shows up, people show up to watch, all those things, right?
And he puts on a show.
So now you tell the world you're going to win the double, you go win the double, right? You throw in another medal, now you got 3 goals. They stick a microphone in your face, and instead of talking about the fact that you just won $70,000 for a global championship and second place is $35,000, instead of talking about that, you take a poke at the NBA. Like, you couldn't have marginalized yourself any worse than that. And it just goes like, look, you guys all know, I've said this a million times. Track and field athletes would make 10 times the money they currently make if they would unionize and figure it out. But because they continue to do things like this, single themselves out and try to make themselves famous and successful and this, that, and the third, like, they continue to get paid pennies. Right? He just beat people from 7 different nations and won 70 grand. You could be like 104th in next week's US Open and win more than 70 grand. Right? So, like, at the end of the day, like, address things that really move the needle for yourself and the sport, as opposed to, like, if another sport wants to call themselves world champions, like, look, it's laughable, but it is what it is. Like, Major League Baseball is the one he should have taken a shot at. I mean, they're world championships. They only play in 2 countries, right? There's a whole group of Japanese players that don't ever come to Major League Baseball that are great baseball players. So that's a whole nother, kettle of fish. But I don't understand when so few athletes in track and field have the power and the presence and the opportunity, that when you get those things, it's just wild to me that you waste them on trivial nonsense.
So I want the governor to go after me, because I think he's going to be more articulate than me on this. Let me be very, very clear. Noah Lyles is the man right now. Double world champ, one of 5 men to have ever accomplished that feat. And on the issue that he talked about, let's be clear, he is 100% correct.
Yes.
Who agrees with him? Greg Popovich agrees with him. Going way back in, Greg Popovich mocked the NBA for their self-proclaimed of world champion. They're not the world champions. The NFL ain't the world champions. Major League Baseball ain't the world champions. Noah was right. But he was also classic, is the word I'm going to use, in our sport. Because don't get it twisted. Noah did what was in the best interest of Noah with that very calculated commentary about the NBA. Noah has had Netflix following him around this season. He's got 2 different documentaries coming to the front, Netflix being the biggest one. He's on top of the world. And yes, he absolutely could have talked about money distribution for what he just accomplished. But see, that commentary doesn't land him on SportsCenter. That commentary doesn't land him on Undisputed. That commentary doesn't have Stephen A. Smith crushing him and then apologizing to him in the same time. What every superstar, from Bolt to Maurice Green to whoever you wanted, Carl Lewis, to whoever you want to talk about, he did exactly what they've all done. He monetized himself in his moment for his benefit. Even though we all like to talk about, oh, we wish things were better. Sha'Carri does the same thing. Okay. And she stepped out and agreed with him, took her 3 million followers and spoke about this same issue.
Excuse me, sir. 3.3.
0.3.
Don't forget them 300,000.
Listen, Noah said exactly what he wanted to say for the exact reasons he wanted to say it, and it had the exact effect he was hoping to have. He's got KD talking trash about him on the internet.
From the burner account.
From
the burner.
He's got Aaron Gordon talking about him. You know, Aaron Gordon's chubby and overweight. Aaron Gordon would lose a 200-meter dash to Noah Lyles by 100 meters. Okay, but it doesn't matter. None of these people watched the World Championships, and none of them gave a damn about it until they heard through the grapevine that some skinny track dude said something about him. He monetized himself in the moment. He got his name on ESPN on the A blocks and the B blocks, right? Notice nobody showed the race. They're just showing his press conference. So he did what we always do, our superstars always do. He's going to maximize his moment in his time. And hey, until all of them are going to figure that stuff out or actually care to, it's not going to change. But don't get it twisted. They don't care to. They want theirs in their moment. And that was proof of it.
Yeah, I mean, I echo exactly what Clyde said. From the standpoint of it was a soundbite. That's what it was. It was a soundbite, and you ruffle enough feathers, you go up the chain, people are talking about you on SportsCenter. Mission accomplished. Period. Big league, let's move on.
Men's pole vault.
Really? I mean, do we really have to talk about this?
Men's what?
She said men's pole vault.
Yeah, he had misses before he won.
No, he didn't. What meet were you watching? He didn't miss until 6:23. What are you talking about? He had 3 misses in the meet. 6:23 were the only misses he had in the meet.
You was watching the Diamond League again, wasn't you?
No, I was.
Not only did he only miss at 6:23, right? Look, our wonderful decathletes vaulted in the swirling crosswinds that went across the same way the women jumped across the D zone. The men's pole vault was on the long jump runway.
Mm-hmm.
For a reason.
Straight screaming tailwind to set world records.
I smell bias, world champion. I smell bias.
The sport is what it is, and he's the biggest ticket, especially for a meet that's in Europe. I would do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, look, we got so much show to talk about. We ain't talking about Mondo. Like,
all right, next.
Women's shot put.
See, now that's relevant.
Woo!
First off, and Big League was there. We saw this. The young Chinese ladies have their own practice shot put retrievers.
Humans.
Like, this is so dope. Look,
And
we are at practice, right? The Chinese ladies come out to throw. Their coaches come out with giant fans and fan them because it's hot. Then when they go to throw, 2 little male minions go run out and stand underneath this tree that is as wide as these 2 fingers, but it was casting a shadow of, 6 feet, standing in the shade. Ball lands, young man goes scurrying, picks up shot, rolls it backwards, so it rolls right up to her feet, and he goes scurrying back to his spot. And I said to Chu, we need a throws minion.
You're using minion and scurry. Like, you're not painting a pretty picture.
This is what happened. I'm using the correct words. The man scurried. Listen, he scurried, and he was definitely a minion. 100%.
Is effective usage of team managers and team personnel.
Yeah, call it that.
Just saying.
Call it that.
But
it was awesome to watch. It was awesome to watch.
Chase Ewing stepped into that ring like a boss.
Yeah.
Okay? And just said, hey, Y'all fighting for second. I don't know about anybody else. Y'all take this little, take this home with you real quick. Wow. What
Listen, I'm gonna say this, and this is definitely like, because I was there and you didn't get to see it type information. Chase Ely in the warm-up area threw over 21 meters like 5 times.
What?
At the warm-up track. This is before they go out to the track.
The meet was over.
The meet was over.
Okay.
She was out there just bombing shot puts like, these are extras. Y'all don't get to see these in the meet.
All right. Men's 800.
Wow.
Masterful one by Mr.
Masterful. Thank you, Baker's Dozen. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Like when you talk about even the rounds, I was captivated. I was absolutely captivated by Arap, and he ran it in different ways. And I'm just going, holy moly. No one's beating this guy. No one is beating this guy. And yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. Shout out to Canada. Hell of a day that day. Wow, that was Canada Day.
It was a big day.
Big day.
It was definitely almost as big as Bastille Day for them. What I thought was awesome is I feel like if Baker's Dozen was his coach, he would have said, listen, you're bigger and better than all of them. I need you to go out and be bigger and better. Because that's what he looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was the dominant force in that race, and there was never a question who was winning. And I loved it. I thought it was awesome. What does
he look like in person?
Big.
No, he's huge.
Oh,
he's huge.
He's a large human now. He's a large human.
He is.
See, he's in our league. He's in the SEC. Like he had eligibility this year. No, like a couple of years ago.
Really?
Like he might have still been in the league this year, but he's a large human.
That basically like him stepping into.
No. I think he's been pro for a couple of years, but that dude, I just think I've just seen him around. But he is a large man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he makes it look really easy.
Yeah,
so when they go out that slow, they got no shot.
There's no chance.
So please forgive me, all of you. I have to take the young man to youth soccer championship dinner. They haven't lost in 5 years, so I got to make sure that the young man is there on time. I love you all. I love all of our fan base. Be world champions, not champions of the United States.
Oh my gosh. All right. Next, women's 5K.
Can I say this about the women's 5K? Because obviously, it's Faith's world and we're all just living in it. In the prelims of the women's 5K, there was a young lady, I don't remember where she was from, but she led her heat by about 150 meters the entire time, only to fade and got herself into the new qualification spot. It was the gutsiest thing I've seen in a distance race in a really long time. And I wish more people would do that. Don't remember her name. I really, really don't. And I really wish I remembered it, but go back and watch the prelims. It was great. It took all the heart in the world. And obviously that was a strategy that she felt would get her there. And it did. In the final, we all knew it was going to be Faith. So, I mean,
there's just some things, death, taxes, faith. Yeah.
and I don't know who in the world would argue this point anymore, but yeah, she's the greatest ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
she is the
there's
GOAT.
no doubt.
No doubt. I don't know who's out there having that conversation as if there's another contender, but there isn't. So just stop.
And you got to give Hassan her props. Hey, you tried 3 times, right?
Tried it all week.
You tried all week. Hey, props to you. Hey, but no, there's just no beating Kipyegon. She is the best ever.
The one I'm most excited about now, the deck.
Perhaps
we'll start with Old Canada. We got to give them their props, and then
1 and 2.
Absolute major props to Big Leagues and the world champion for Mr. Victor's 3rd place finish. And very exciting fashion.
Yeah.
Big PBs across the board, and if perseverance is something you're looking for, Mr. Victor was absolutely that. All of you guys were that. Very impressive. Congratulations.
Absolutely. And I'm following along on the group text, and we get to the jav, and he throws 67 out there, and the question goes, is that going to be enough? And the response is emphatically no. We need more.
Yeah.
And the very next text that pops up is 68.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Fantastic. How was that moment for you, Big League?
Okay, wait, which one? The javelin, the 15, or the whole thing?
Well, I mean,
the jab.
the jab.
The jab.
In dealing with multi-vendors, I went through this with Anna. It's like your constant calculation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Melanie Welty is my calculator with Anna. So she always knows what we have to do, what the other person's capable of doing. So when Lyndon did in the javelin, automatically your mind goes to, okay, so what do we have to do to get a medal?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what color it is, we just want a medal. So where was your mind in that?
Yeah.
After the jav, there was a little bit of a deflation, because I was like, there was more. And he said it after the fact. He's like, yeah, that wasn't it. I'm like, okay, but you did enough. You put enough out there to where you didn't have to run 404. So you're coming into the 15, and the conversation did go the spectrum. You blow it all out and you lose complete medal contention, or you secure the medal, just like you said. And that's obvious. You secure the medal. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
What was in his wheelhouse?
Definitely 430 might have been a little too advantageous. 435 is definitely a thing where his fitness level is at. 440 was sub 440 was the goal.
Okay.
So he hit that 439. The funnier part is because the front of the race went out so quickly, all of us. So Gar, Glenn, Chris Mack, Huffins, myself, and Jim Garnham, we're all standing front row right there. And we're like, they're going too slow. What is going on? You gotta go. And I'm sitting there signaling, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And 400 comes around, and he's like 75. I was like, what? 75?
No,
you're crazy.
It's too fast.
And so I'm like, okay, he's on time. He comes around, first group comes around at 2:28. And I'm like, we're really on time.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like it's on time at all.
Yeah.
How is this happening? And all of us are conversing amidst that next K. And all of us are like, we've got to calm down, because our guys are running what they're supposed to be running.
Yes.
Pierce is where he's supposed to be. He's waiting on Lyndon to make a move, just because he's pulling Lyndon inadvertently. Damien's in front, Leo's in the mix, all these things. And, he comes around, and, we tell it now, and it's kind of funny, because even Lyndon will go, oh, I can't believe it. Every 300 that he finishes in is supposed to be in 51. And that's been happening for a while now. He finished in 53. And so, just the linear math goes, then you drop the 2 seconds, that's 437.
437.
Wow. So whatever it is, I mean.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a life lesson.
Just let it be.
What did he finish the last 300 in? And the answer is he got the bronze medal.
That's right.
That's the answer. Yeah, there you go. He got the bronze medal.
Coming from someone that has beaten himself up far too much in this game.
Yeah.
He's on the other side. He understands, hey, what will be, right?
Absolutely.
Got the bronze medal.
Got the bronze medal.
The number of text messages I got, and I kind of blew somebody up. I think I told you guys about that. What happened the last 2 hurdles, right?
Yeah.
He won the world championship. But what happened the last 2 hurdles? He won his 3rd straight world championship. Right? So at the end of the day, sometimes we get so obsessed with
numbers,
what numbers and what could have happened or should have happened or whatever, and we forget that's a monster achievement. That's a first for all 3 of you, right? For him, you, and and world champion. So like I think that's you have to live in the moment and appreciate what you accomplished. And sometimes, you maybe you could have done this, but hey, bronze medal. That's all that matters.
Not mad at it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Moving on to the 4x1s, both gender.
Which one?
She said both genders. Okay, so like the men ran first.
Yes.
But I almost collectively say, okay, no diss to anybody concerned, so don't make me a meme because I would say this to them. We won in spite of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because those were the worst world championship handoffs I've ever seen. Semis and finals. I mean, I'm not, no disrespect to Mike and Michelle. I'm not trying to be that guy, but there's nobody on the planet that thought those exchanges were good.
No.
A lot of talk about could have challenged records, whatever. This is not about challenging records for me. This is about the amount of time and effort and money that's put into the relay. I know we won the medal, which is the goal, but it should look better than that, in my opinion. We should be better than that. Just there was nothing. I could hear Clyde's voice in my head going, "What the?" That's all I got.
This is. I always get accused of many things in this relay conversation. And we've had different versions of the relay conversation on the show over the last couple of years. I haven't deviated from my path, and I'm not going to now. Since the world on the women's side, let's do it with the men. We had Christian Coleman, we had Fred Curley, we had
Brandon Carnes.
And we had Brandon Carnes, which was supposed to be Cravon Charlton, but he got hurt. And we had Noah Lyles. That team, that group, if the handoffs are B level, the numbers, the math says could have challenged for the world record. But we got the win. And it's when we lose that everybody starts to freak out and talk trash and blah, blah, blah. And I totally understand the angst and the when, and I mean lose by any means, right? Last year we got a medal, but we lost to Canada. And it was a big problem, right? The women, world record was set in 2012. And with the exception of 2016, every single year I have said loudly, proudly, anyone that wants to ask, the world record is safe. It's been safe. It's going to stay safe. Of 2016, that group could have had the world record in the bag, if not for the late Tori Bowie screwing up the handoff on anchor. From 2012 till right now, no other team was even going to come close to the record from where I sat. This team, this group of women, should have. Now, how do you want to look at it, right? It's easy, I would say lazy, of fans and professionals to look at what happened in Budapest and say, hey, we got the gold and they broke the championship record. So it's an A. No, it's not. Because as coaches, as people who strive for technical precision, it was awful. Now, I'm friends with Michelle. I'm proud of the accomplishments of those young women. There was a lot of drama that led up to it, right? So for them to ultimately land where they landed, gold medal, U.S. sweep, and the women breaking the championship record, that's all dope and it should be applauded because it took a lot to get there. But as a coach, I can't watch that and not think, what if? Because you know what? Last year, the women had beautiful passes. The team wasn't good enough, talented enough to challenge for the world record. You take this year's group with those passes, world record, right? And so year to year, you don't know who's going to be on this team. You don't know if who's going to be hurt, who's not going to be available, right? You don't know those things. So, like, I think Lewis Johnson, I haven't seen that clip, but I think Lewis Johnson actually had the nerve to ask the ladies, like, Is this going to be the team in Paris? He knows better than that.
Hmm.
Like, ain't no guarantee that any of those women are going to be on the team for Paris, right? Yeah. So it was a special moment that from 10 years from now, you may or may not remember that the U.S. team won the 4x1 in Budapest. But everybody annually still talks about that world record group. Yep. And it's immortal until it's taken down. And that group of women could have taken it down. Tamari Davis was brilliant. And here's another person that doesn't get the respect that I think she deserves for what she has done. What's the common denominator between last year's gold and this year's gold? It's TT Terry.
Mm-hmm.
You can have whatever opinion you want of TT Terry and her 100-meter career, what she can and cannot do, what she has and has not done. TT Terry is a relay savant, and she's out there getting the job done. She was brilliant running the backstretch in Budapest. She was brilliant holding off Sharika Jackson last year for the gold medal. She deserves a lot more credit for the job she's doing. Gabby ran a phenomenal turn. Sha'Carri did her job on anchor. It was the passes. The passes were not good. Yeah. And I think it's an opportunity for a world record. And I don't think it's negative to point that out because it's just obvious if you really look at the math. Like Tamari was phenomenal first. She really was.
So so many storylines. I found that it was very fitting that Gabby ran third and handed off to Sha'Carri. And you wonder how much of that was
premeditated.
Hello. I mean, we don't know.
Okay.
I was not in the room. I was not in the warm-up.
So that I will address that when you're done.
Yes.
Want me to address it now? You want to let you finish?
He said, "I want to hear."
So look. So the plan was, and I think everybody in the universe knew the plan was for TT to run third in the final and Gabby to run second.
Yes.
But after the published splits where TT was reported to run 964 down the backstretch,
mm-hmm.
I think that's when the decision was made. Why would we change that? Let's put Gabby on third. So that's where that came from. So it was not premeditated in any way at all. It was just let's make this executive decision to do it that way.
Well,
decided the morning of, actually.
That's amazing. So that explains, I mean, how much work was actually put in between Gabby and Sha'Carri. It was supposed to be Gabby to TT then. That was
right.
Okay. All right. So that explains that part of it. The other part of this whole deal is, I think what's being lost while we're talking about the relay woes of the U.S. women, the U.S. men, the history and all of that. What is going on with Jamaica? Because you cannot tell me that foursome that was on that track did not have the ability to win that race. Okay, now,
but Governor, they had the ability, but were they better than us? I don't think they were.
I don't either.
There's nowhere where they were better than us. I mean, they were better than us on second leg, but the other three legs were better than them. They were not supposed to beat us this time.
But only on paper, because
that's my point. But
on paper,
that's all I'm saying.
So
I'm just
talking, on paper, the USA is the favorite.
Yes. So what I'm getting at is, if this is going to be a true rivalry, then Jamaica has to step up. And I believe that Jamaica has all the pieces to be right there. There's no question in my mind.
Well, there's no doubt about that. But Elaine has to become Elaine again.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the youngsters has to step up. Because let me tell you something right now. Miss Davis on the leadoff is a real problem.
Oh my gosh.
Miss Davis is trending towards Miss Madison type problem.
Yeah.
Right? That's where she's trending. Until you solve that problem,
mm-hmm.
and then and I'll see TT is, in my opinion, trending towards being better than Allison was back there.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, statistically, she's already better than Allison ever was.
That's
there
amazing.
you go. Right.
That's
so
amazing.
So the problem is, like, in order for Jamaica to match up with Miss Davis, they're gonna have to put one of the big dogs up there.
Yeah.
And so okay, so since you threw that out there, I'll say it. Something that was really cool from this weekend was Michelle invited Tiana to one of the days of practice to talk to the young ladies, and specifically to talk to Tamari Davis. And I thought that was cool because, connections from the past don't always transition moving forward, right? To that point, Tamari Davis, if she can stay healthy and stay in that spot, is the key to them setting themselves up to take down that record, just like Tiana was always the key of why they had it. Because on the fly, and I'll be very clear because I've had this conversation before, no one at this point in the world is even going to attempt, nor should they say, to say that TT Terry is a better track athlete than Allison Felix. That's saying, but statistically, getting from point A to point B down a backstretch, getting from A to point B down an anchor leg, TT has proven to be better than Allison and equal Jet. We've done it statistically. So on the fly, you can find a lot more people to duplicate what Allison did or what Jet did or what BK did. Prandini was infinitely faster than BK was last year. On the turn. So the problem has always been you can't replicate the number one. Tamari Davis is right there. And to your point about Jamaica, what's wrong with Jamaica? I'll tell you what's wrong with Jamaica. They refuse to run Jacko on first. Sharika Jackson, put her out the blocks, let the others run on the fly, and you're going to have a whole lot going on. But for the same reasons that we don't make a lot of these decisions, infighting, politics, who's pulling the strings, who's really in charge, Jamaica at the height of their powers, relay-wise, wasn't this year, but it was last year. Ellie wasn't hurt. Elaine wasn't hurt. Nope. Wasn't hurt. They were all out there last year, and we beat them without Miss Richardson. So it's just strategic thinking and, finding the people in the right place, not the egos in the right place. Jamaica has a...
If I'm coaching Jamaica, I'm going to go Sharika to Elaine to Shelly, and I'm going to let Kai anchor, and we're going to be okay. If they go that order and pass the stick well, that is a problem.
And they have 4, 5, 6 women that are 10-8 in their PRs in their lives. Hell, they got the young twins. The read. It's not like they don't have the bodies.
What's her name? The girl that led off in the final, or the girl that ran third in the final could do it, or the girl that led off in the semifinal. I can't think. Miss Williams could.
Sure.
A lot of people can run the anchor leg, but they're counting on, Sharika running everybody down. But she can't run. Okay, Sharika is not running Sha'Carri Richardson down. Not happening.
No.
Not happening. I mean, like she proved last year she could run TT down. She almost got to TT, but she's not running Sha'Carri down.
No,
she's not running Sha'Carri down.
And I mean, to that, Sha'Carri didn't even attempt to accelerate off the line to get her baton. I mean, Gabby ran by her.
Yes, she did.
Well, look, like you said, like my calculations say 2080 something. And that's because I'm not sure. I can't remember what Gabby ran this year in the 100. So it might be 4070 something, I should say. But at the end of the day, like, you get 310s just by, like, nobody ran. Okay. A lot of people think that Gabby, like, that TT was slowing down. Gabby left early. And we know it was a byproduct because it wasn't, wasn't practiced enough or practiced at all.
Right.
And then TT didn't move.
No.
And Sha'Carri let Gabby get inside the mark, and then she jogged away.
And she jogged out. Yep.
Yeah.
And so so for me, that's my thing, right? On that stage, every year, yes, I want to win, but I also want to win running as fast as we can run, right? And so many times over the years, especially on the men's side, we produced a men's foursome for, I don't know, I'll say, I don't have my notes, 7 of the last 10 years, we've had a group that can challenge that world record. And we don't get close to it because it's so messy.
Yeah.
Guys ain't gonna be around for Fred was a freight train.
Yep.
On the backstretch. But he jogged off the line and took 2 bad sticks from Christian, who is an elite pop-off runner for us.
Yes.
It's throwing away time right here. So, I hope we improve while continuing to win. Because I'd much rather look at the sweep and then the no medals and the second places, right? So, yes, but like that's how it felt.
League.
Always wanting more, as we should, but
Better execution.
women's high jump
Another very, very good competition.
Mhm.
was.
Yeah. Perseverance by the young lady that won it. Another event where we need to, as we meaning the US, we need to step up our game.
Mhm.
And we need to step up our game. I'm just gonna leave it at that. We
Yep.
just need to
Just-
step up our game.
That's what
Yeah.
I caught myself in getting ready to say this
Yeah.
event. I was like, we just
Hey,
need
I asked y'all a couple weeks ago. I asked.
men's javelin.
Like
Again,
the EP said it. That
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Chopra. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Chopra.
And the athleticism in the event that we just saw, specifically to the men's jav, there was a lot of athleticism displayed. The gentleman, I can't remember what country he's from, who did the front handspring
Yes.
jav,
Yeah.
right? There was another gentleman who kind of did a side barrel roll, who,
Mm-hmm.
he fouled one, then foul one again. And just the quote unquote, not typical body types that we saw in that event. So high athleticism, great marks, great competition. Chopra, we wonder if that looked different because Anderson wasn't in the competition. And that's who has contested Chopra in the past. So
That dude don't care who's in the competition.
no, he doesn't. But
He does it. So
but
it doesn't look any
Anderson's
different.
the
Don't
only
care
one.
who you put in there. That dude is who he is.
Quick
He's the
nerd,
man right now.
quick nerdy fact about Chopra, because we're Americans and we're obsessed with social media. Sha'Carri got 3.3 million followers, right? Chopra got 6 million and some change.
6 million.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes.
When you get to outside of your American bubble,
Yeah.
this is a star.
Yeah.
And really so, right? Like just the whole Indian contingent.
Three
It-
three
they had-
throwers. They were crazy on the relay.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy.
Yes.
Out there, like India is clearly investing in this sport in certain areas, and they looked great all week when they were meant to look great. So props,
Mm-hmm.
India.
Men's 5K.
Ingebrigtsen.
Redemption. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like history
redemption.
repeating itself, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I thought he ran a much smarter race.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. Well, see,
Lesson
in
learned.
that race, like he let the race come to him.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was clear, like, even if you look at him, like, he waited to the last 50 to go.
Yes.
It wasn't like he took this dash at 300 or 200 or 100. He's kind of looked over, looked back to make sure nobody was coming. Like, he was confident that he could outkick that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
Next is the women's 800.
Oh,
That was
boy.
crazy.
Well, I think, it was crazy, but, like, I don't think anybody was shocked that, those two young ladies ran as well as they did. I think we all, being who we are and what we see, we wanted Miss Mo to be what we want her to be, which is a 155 low girl.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you watch in the race, even if you watch the rounds, like she never looked like herself. She was never comfortable. She never looked confident. And the governor and I kind of, text about this. Like, I saw it at 200. That 26 seconds wasn't the usual ease and comfort level that she shows it. And then with 300 to go, when she went to make that patented move of hers, and the look on her face was like, this isn't here,
Mhm.
you know? And I said with 300 to go that they were going to catch it, you know?
Here's what bothers me about the whole women's 800 meter discussion right now. Again, the the prognosticators.
The uneducated.
Yes. I don't know why fans try to find like when all you have to do is like actually pay attention and listen, and you can get to what would be a rational explanation of things. To blame Bobby Kersey for losing a race as if Bobby doesn't know what he's doing is just so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Such an uneducated point of view to have. You're entitled to it, but just listen to the young lady speak.
Yep.
Unmotivated right now.
Yep.
Now, I don't know the factual reasons why that is, but she said it. And these other women are elite, world-class superstars. Are they as talented as her? No. Have they been as good as her? No. But it's not like they suck. Keely Hodgkinson and Mora are elite people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're
Big League, what's a thing's PR in the 800?
Just barely faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're pissed off that they've been losing to this woman, this child.
Yes.
For the last 2 championships. They got pride and national, things that they're running for just like everybody else. So if you listen to Miss Mo's post-race interviews, she's unmotivated. She had some issues going on this year. Listen, she has to decide that she wants to be the global dominant 800 meter runner of the world. And then she has to go out there and do the work. Because if she's not, the margin of error that she has is very, very small because these women are just. But to act like it's Bobby's fault because he knows what he's doing. And trust me, that is the narrative that's out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, it's always the coach's fault when the athlete loses. And let's be real.
It's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm a huge.
Big League, what's her PR?
156.61.
Who is that?
And what?
Mose.
That's Mose. No,
is 155.04.
Yeah, Mose is not. Mose is
155.04.
155.04.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Hodgkinson's is 155 and some change.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying, listen, I'm a huge fan of the thing, Mose. I know that she is physically capable of dominating this event for years to come, but her margin of error is small.
And understand this as well. Like the 155.04 was in 21.
21,
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't been close to that. So it wasn't like she ran that last year and then came to Bobby, because I believe she's about the same this year as she was last year.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken.
Pretty close.
But she's better in the. She's better, obviously, in the 1500 than she was before she came there.
Well,
and I mean, and again, like, we talk about this. It takes a year sometimes for coach and athlete to figure each other out.
Yes.
And so, I mean, look at how much better Sid was in her second year with Bobby.
Yeah.
Right? This is now year 3 with Bobby, right?
Yeah.
For Sid, yeah.
So 2 things. Mara ran her PB in that race.
Of course.
Okay?
Right.
Ran her PB to win that race. Hodgkinson opened her season with 155.77. Opened her outdoor season. Okay? So clearly, from the beginning of the outdoor season, those 2 knew what they were preparing for. And you cannot knock the fact that they were prepared for that moment. They were prepared to run fast. What we didn't see was preparation from Mo's standpoint. And what we know about the 800 and how heady and how tough that event is, you gotta have some reps, man. You gotta come
And
in
because that was only her second meet of
second
the year
race
running the
of
800,
the
right?
year,
Yeah,
right?
because she
So,
didn't run it. She ran it like in New York or someplace.
yes,
Didn't
you're right.
run at the trials, so yeah,
very easily.
So,
And
there's definitely some race rust there. Yeah,
yes. So all I can say is that I hope this is going to serve as motivation for I think Mo, because there is no doubt from a talent standpoint who the best 800-meter runner in the world is. There's no question. You know, I hope she
well,
goes home.
let's call her the most talented because Moore is the
Yes,
best.
yes.
Yeah.
So I take from this, obviously, she gave it what she had.
Yes.
That's what she had.
Yeah.
And 157 is no joke either.
Right.
Call it what it is. So I just hope she comes back in 24 stronger than ever and ready to rock, because the 800, I think, is one of the most exciting events in track and field with
Yep.
those three in it.
yeah,
And the
it's
other English girl as well. Yeah, another
Yeah.
Brit as well.
it's rare that you have three.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes.
Women's 3K steeple.
I got nothing. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I watched it. It
Yavi won.
yeah, it was a
Mhm.
race.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
The storyline in that was the older Chepkoech got second in that race. The one that was expected to win didn't even show up. You know, that was a little bit weird. The world leader, Chepkoech,
Right.
was nowhere to be found. So
Interesting. Last but very not least, the 4x4s. The men ran first, so we'll start with them.
The men's race.
I mean,
I'm glad we won it. It was a bad race. It was a bad race.
yeah. I mean, by standards established earlier in the year, it was a mediocre run, but we won the gold medal.
yeah.
You know, unlike the women, the men were there to represent.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you never look down upon a gold medal. Will we expect that group to run a little bit faster? I think that Justin Robinson was a little tired. That was his fourth race of the week, and I think
Yes.
that showed with his 44.7 because he'd been a 44 low and he'd been 43 on every other thing that he did. But at the end of the day, kudos to that young man because he had one heck of a week.
Absolutely.
And
He's had one
but I mean,
second
hey, we're
season.
gold medals, and I think we talked about India's great run, and Jamaica. The young boy just couldn't quite get him on the medal stand. So
Right.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not talking about the Americans. I'm just saying the race itself. Like,
yeah,
it was really uninteresting and slow for the stage that it was on. I mean,
right.
let's be clear. The 1 and 2 at the NCAA's could have been on the podium. No,
I mean,
I'm glad. Hey,
I
glad we
think
won.
let's can we not say that winning a gold medal in the men's 4x4 is one of the most thankless positions that you can ever be in because of the reputation and the history of the men's 4x4 at the World Championships? I mean, you have no choice. There is no choice. You make the final, you are going to win. Right?
Governor, here's my real issue. Like, because in the moment you don't realize that it's slow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I expected us to blow it out and win.
Right.
And then the time comes up on the clock. And I promise you, as soon as I saw the time, I said, well, damn, if we were going to run like that, we could have at least had a race on our hands. Like, why did everybody else step up and make it a race?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I to have that race go off and you drop the 44.7 in there, and that takes a huge, when you talk about when you're trying to challenge for or even approach records or anything like that. The standard is so high, man. Like,
Yeah, I just don't think we have the mindset.
Yes, there you go.
Because first of all, let's start with the fact that when you make the team running 44-4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you take 444 middle guys, they're going to run 256 with 255. That's what they should run. Right.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't run 257. That's that's not a thing.
All right, women's 4x4.
Hey, phenomenal job by Ms. Bowl. I mean, like, I haven't seen her reported split yet, but I've seen that
48-7 and 47 at 48-7.
48-7.
Okay.
Clover.
Because I saw that Miss Williams was 49-9, so I know she had to be 48-7, 48 something. But it was just the patience of which she did it. She never panicked. She was never in a hurry. She just kind of methodically cut into the lead, and then with 60 to go, you're like, well, I think she's gonna catch her.
Yeah.
Almost like Ingebrigtsen in the 5K, right? Just kind of methodically, cut into the lead and got it done. So, but kudos, the Jamaicans ran really well.
They did.
I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Brits running
and then Brits were running. The Brits, I don't think speaking of that, there were some countries that had great meets. Canada had a great meet.
Yes, they did.
Spain had a great meet.
Yeah.
The Netherlands had a great meet.
Yep.
Obviously, India had a great meet. And Jamaica there was one day where that's all you talked about was Jamaica.
That was it. Yeah.
There was a Jamaican day, and so, and I think the other thing too is we were 29 medals, and obviously we probably gave a couple away throughout the championships, but the rhetoric that we only won 31 last year because we were at home gets slapped right in the mouth. We won 29, and we're far away from home. So, incredible meet by the United States. Incredible meet.
Now he won't do it, and the EP isn't here. Do it. 29 medals.
You said 29 medals, yeah.
So just a hair under 25% were in some way coached by Sir Lucius. Is my math correct on that? Because it was 7, right? There are 7 medals.
Well, technically it was 6 events, so 6, yeah.
Okay.
This has to be the most gratifying.
7 medals total, but 6
in your career. Is this not the most gratifying World Championships in your career?
Yeah,
that's what I think.
It was.
I mean,
like last year was great.
Yes.
But this year was, I think the thing that made this year so gratifying is that we faced adversity, with the group, and everybody stepped up, and even, everyone that we took, that I coached, that we took to the meet, made the final. That was the big thing.
That's huge.
The medals were great, and always will be, but the fact that everybody made the final and had an opportunity to get a medal. We had PBs and stuff like that were great as well. But boy, I'm gonna tell you, wore me out. I felt like somebody ran me over with a truck. But
sure.
Thank you for the shout out, Clyde. I appreciate it.
I laughed because I know how heavy my backpack was with the medal in it and then without the medal in it. And I'm like, this dude's got 7 of them? Man.
No, see, I didn't. I've only received 1 from Grant so far, but and the relay medalists, those medals go to Michelle and Mike. So, at the end of the day, me, it's not about whether I get a medal or not. I'm sure I'll get the other ones, but at the end of the day, I'm just proud of the group. We sat down early in the year and we set down goals, and the goal was for everybody to be there. And of the group, I've saved one guy with an injury. Everybody got there, so it was a pretty successful year. But it's over, and now on to preparation for Paris.
Man.
Well, and I want to say this since one, we talk a lot of trash about world athletics. They get a lot of stuff wrong. Budapest was an excellent host. The city itself was very, very
phenomenal.
Yes.
And you know, I just thought they did an excellent job with the whole thing. And, you know, Tokyo is gonna, you know, try to outdo them, right?
Absolutely.
I've said it before on the show. If you have an opportunity to go to a world championships, you should really go, because from a track meet perspective, it's better than the Olympics. It just is. And you got to be there in full scale to kind of understand it. So definitely looking forward to Tokyo. But one of the biggest changes for me that the World Athletics got absolutely right, other than the advancement of the lanes, is giving the coaches the same medals that the athletes get. I think that's dope. I think that's long overdue. And, you know, we're all out here working, you know, for the betterment of these young people and trying to help them achieve their goals. But we, you know, coaches don't get the money that they deserve. The athletes don't get the money that they deserve. So the fact that they are now in a position to come home with a gold medal or a silver medal or a bronze medal is dope. And, you know, you should get that keepsake because you earned it.
It's a great feeling. It is.
Well, that's the World Championships wrap up.
Yep.
I mean, we are far from wrapped up. I don't know about 3/4 of this screen. I'm still tired and, you know, still waking up in the middle of the night. Oh yeah, you're still there, so you're whatever. But yeah,
I'm like 5 hours.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, all right, y'all. It was fun. It was a great World Championships. One for the books, but like Baker's doesn't said, it's on to the next now. That chapter's closed. Moving on. So with that said, thank you so much for your time. Talk to you guys soon, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.